Hi, welcome to Rare. Hi, Libby. So, as I was saying, whether you're new to my world or not, welcome. I'm so happy that you could make this live. I know that we all have very busy lives, and life tends to particularly life in the first week of January. So, the fact that you're here and on the first working day back for a lot of people really means the world to me. And for those of you who are new here, the way this goes is it's not just a master class where I teach a few things and then I say bye and leave you to figure it out. It is a conversation. So talk to me whenever something arises, not just to me, but to the others. There's 66, of course, it's 66 people in the chat. So talk to them as well. This is a space where you don't just have to get to know me, you can get to know other people. Everyone here is absolutely incredible. And you don't have to be in a state where you have to prove anything to anyone. Just bring your mind, bring your honesty in here, bring your full attention in here. This is only, let's say, 90 minutes. So if you have the 90 minutes to spare, try and stay focused and be fully present in this. I hope you brought something to take notes into as well. This is a space where you can be fully real. It's a room where, like I said, you don't have to perform, worry about anyone judging you. So ask the questions that you usually keep to yourself because you're worried that you'll get judged or because you're worried that someone is going to think I'm stupid for asking this question. There's no such thing in my spaces. I say this a lot in my membership, BBS. A lot of you are here today. Hello. There's no stupid questions. My friends get very angry with me when I say that, especially one of them, Alex. She's like, no, no, there is such a thing as a stupid question, Des. I actually disagree, you know, except if you ask if cats are the best thing that was ever gifted to us by the universe. That is indeed a stupid question. But other than that, you can ask anything. You will get more out of this if you treat it like we're in an actual room together, minus the coughing, hopefully, not just listening in while doing five other things. And finally, before we get started, if you are new to me, hi, I'm Des. Yes, hopefully you know what you signed up for, and hopefully you know what, well, you don't know what's about to happen. No one does really, but hopefully you know who I am by now. I have been in business for almost a decade now. I've built a seven-figure brand. I've worked with over 3,000 clients. I have an incredible family of two cats. Yes, Sushi and Lucifer. They'll probably visit us in the next 90 minutes. One of them will. I have an incredible membership called BBS. This session was born there. I wanted to take some of the magic that happens in my favorite space in the universe, my membership, and bring it to you guys behind the scenes because I can't really share it in public. So this is my alternative. I Many of my BBS members are here today. Drop me a BBS in the chat if you're here, just for a shout out. I also have a high level mastermind called Rain. I teach, I mentor, I coach online and in person. In fact, I'm running a retreat in 4 days for 14 of my clients. Some of them are here. And I work with people at every level of business, from those starting out to multimillionaires. Income doesn't really matter to me when it comes to who I choose to work with. Also, you may notice I am Eastern European. And I come from a place called Bulgaria, which you may have or may not have heard of. So the perspective and the lens through which I see the world is a bit, should we say, wildly different from most of what we are exposed to in the online space. And I really pride myself on that. Oh, I love that. Hi. Hi to all my BBS members. Love to see you guys here. I'm a forever startup. Well, nothing wrong with that. So let's talk about why I named this Rare. Funnily enough, I ran an event called Rare 2 or 3, I think 3 years ago, possibly. It was not this event. I just loved the name so much that this is the first time ever I have reused the name of anything. I don't reuse names of events. Um, I just never have in 9 years of business. And the reason I decided to choose this for these next 2 days we're going to have together is because I really do believe that every person in this room is very, very rare in what you do and how good you are at what you do and how much you care for your work, your business, your clients, the people you want to serve. These are normally the people I tend to attract, which is why, even without knowing some of you, I can say that with confidence. But you can be the rarest human being on the planet, right? But your brand doesn't reflect that a lot of the time. And I see that online and I see that with clients that have just signed up with me. I experience who they are as a human and I experience their work and how they move through life and how they perceive business and the world and themselves. And I think, and then I look at their brand online and I think, God damn it. No, we can't have this. Your brand has to reflect the rarity, if that's a word, of you. And when it doesn't, that's when you don't get to build a successful business. So I really want you over the next 2 days to embrace how rare you are, but also to be brutally honest with yourself and acknowledge whether not your brand expresses that to your audience. And if you're here in this room, it probably doesn't, right? Unless you just like listening to me talk, which is also accepted. I attended the previous rare. That is wild. Thank you for being to both. You will see that it's a completely different event. We have someone to validate what I said. I love this. So, in part one of today, I want to talk about the strangest lie in the online space. You may have heard it, you may have embraced it, you may believe it. Some of you probably do. We have almost 70 people here, so just statistics wise, I'm sure. So, be honest if you do. I love it when we have different opinions here. I still will believe it's a lie. And the lie is that there is no such thing as competition. I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot, particularly from people who did not go to business school. I hear this particularly from people who like to take your money and pose as business coaches and mentors and tell you that there's just no, you don't need to worry. You don't have competitors. The only person you're competing with is yourself, darling. So it's all good. Yes. Who's heard this? Who believes this? Who stands against this? I've stood against this from day one. It's a really, really, I went to business school and as soon as I graduated, stepped into this industry. And I have to tell you, it was a really terrifying experience. I remember seeing all of the stuff happening online from people saying you don't have competition to people not even understanding the concept of competitor analysis. Like that's not even a thing to this day for most business coaches and mentors, to stepping into this online coaching space where for some reason people are taking photos with rented cars and jets and houses and talking about how much money they make. Where outside of the coaching space is it normalized for a random person to go online and say, oh, it's only 2 p.m. and I've already made $10,000 today, fully passively by my course. It's just, it's not normal. Right? So it took me a while to come to terms with the space that I had chosen for myself to build a career in and operate in. Has anyone else struggled with that at all? Stand against. Okay. Love that. I don't think I've heard it. I love that. I actually love that. That's a very good sign. SWOT analysis, marketing 101, you would think. You would think. I think you don't have competitors is a corruption of what's actually a good philosophy of not seeing your competitors as threats. Absolutely. I think some things should not be dumbed down, and I think some things should not be flattened into simplicity. And I think we live in a world where humans are always looking for a way to simplify everything, including the most nuanced topics of conversation. And that really bothers me because I don't like to flatten things. You have to a point to sit here and teach a session on something. You know, you're not gonna go and present this with the most complex concepts in humankind. Only Rory Sutherland gets to get away with that. I don't know if you guys know him. He's phenomenal. I like to say that the only competition is me, but I know that they're competitors. That and bro marketing is what I'm against. I would argue that that was also something that, used to be something different. And then it became bastardized in the online space. I'm always trying to simplify, but I suppose that's my paradox because I get into very detailed things. Well, there's a difference between simplifying something that doesn't need to be simplified and bastardizing it and ruining it, and simplifying things that actually you need to simplify for your audience to understand them. Like, I'm not going to sit here and walk you guys through how I analyze people's brands and how I create a brand strategy or a business plan or a sales plan, because one, it will bore you to death. And I want this to be fun and exciting for you while also relevant and something that creates results. So, yes, thank you for sharing your thoughts. I would say that most people in the industry are living inside a fantasy. I think they have been told that there's no such thing as competition and there's plenty for everyone. And there is, I say that myself, there is plenty for everyone. But the thing is, it can it can sound really evolved. Oh my God, your only competitor is yourself, babe. But it's also so impractical because there's competition not just for money, but for attention, for trust, for belief, for there's competition for whose nervous system people are willing to borrow when things get uncertain. That is one of my biggest breakthroughs in business, by the way. Whose nervous system are people willing to borrow when things get uncertain? That's actually how people make buying decisions today, which is what we're about to talk about. Your audience is not scrolling on social media thinking, oh my God, I have to pay the person who has the best framework. Like, if your framework is not the best, whatever that means, I'm simply not going to pay you. No one thinks that way, even if they say they do. Remember, even when you get feedback from your clients on why they chose you and why they chose to work with you specifically, a lot of the times they don't really know because it was a feeling, because it was a knowing that they can trust you. My job is to figure out what's beneath that. What is underneath the conscious conscious choices that people make? What's in the subconscious mind? How do people think has been my biggest obsession of my life. And I've obviously taken it into my business and into my work. So what people are really asking is not who's the best at what they do, who has the best framework, who posts the most content and shows up the most. It's who feels the most stable and solid, especially in 2026, right? Look at the world. It is burning. It has been burning. Who feels like they won't collapse under pressure? Who feels like they're still going to be here in 3 years, 5 years, a decade? I mean, I have people who've chosen to work with me for the entirety that I've been in business. Think of it this way, my membership BBS turns 9 years old next month. Wild. I have people to this day who joined 9 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, who are still there. And year after year or month after month, they choose to recommit and stay in that space. Why? Because they know it's not going anywhere and I'm not going anywhere and I'm not suddenly going to have an identity crisis and I don't know, make 90% of my content about God and reading the Bible every day, which seems to be trendy nowadays with coaches in the online space. I'm not going to move to Thailand, become a digital nomad and ditch my business. Fun fact, I lived in Thailand for almost a year, didn't ditch my business, but I was surrounded by people who did to become digital nomads. Never say never. That is actually something I say to my own clients. But if there's one thing I can guarantee is that my membership is not going anywhere and I'm not going anywhere. I'm the most annoying person on the planet. I simply refuse to go away. For the last 9 years, I've refused to go away. That is one of the biggest reasons my business is still here, especially after the last few years, which, let's face it, have been tough on a lot of people. Identity crisis versus growth. There's a difference. When I say identity crisis, I mean people who are literally burning their business down to the point where they do it once a year. They do it once every 6 months. I'm changing my niche. I'm rebranding. I'm changing my whatever, my entire identity every 6 months. And clearly that doesn't happen to a person who is currently in a state of mind where they can hold you. Let's just be honest. If you're going through that right now, that's okay. Go through it. There's beauty on the other end of it. But it's also goes the other way around. Would you choose a mentor that you don't know if they're going to be there 6 months from now? You don't know if they're still even going to have this business. When I started my business, so this was the first year of my business, 2017. There was a woman, doesn't matter who she is, but she was very big in the branding space at the time, and I really looked up to her. I asked her for a 12-month payment plan on her course. It was called Brand You something. It doesn't exist anymore. And it was a $2,000+ course. That was the most money I'd never even seen that much money. I'd been in business for like a month. And I got in there and I remember thinking, especially after just graduating from studying branding as my master's degree for 2.5 years, I remember just thinking, well, this is a very good lesson because I have only now paid $2,200 to learn the lesson that I absolutely have nothing to worry about and that I can 100% build a successful business. Let me put it that way. She disappeared about 2 years after she made 7 figures, and now she has since had 20 identity crises. She was an activist, she was a sex coach, she was a therapist, she was I don't even remember. I tracked her for a while. And I don't know what's happened to her since. I think I last saw her about a year ago. But this is someone that disappointed a lot of people because when she was teaching branding, we literally thought that because she said, this is my life's journey. I'm so deeply committed to this. It feels so right. And I can't imagine not doing this. These are very strong words. You don't say these words if you are even 1% unsure, right? So, and I know there's a whole other side to this, but let's not go down this rabbit hole. Oh, you were there. Wow. It was a long time ago. And she went from being one of the most respected names in the branding space to not existing in that space. And that was a big lesson to me. I really, really evaluated how I felt about what I do, how I felt about my choice of career. Is this really what I want to do? One thing I learned very early on about myself is that I hate being boxed in to things, which is why I don't believe in niching down, which probably makes me a hypocrite after talking about going to business school and them teaching you about niching in there. But I have built an entire business out of never niching down and never teaching a single client to do that unless they specifically want to for a very strong reason, right? If you're drawn to a specific niche, if you only want to offer marketing services to real estate professionals, fantastic. But there has to be an actual reason for it, not just, oh, I heard this works. Oh, well, I saw this person did it, therefore that niche works, right? So I started by being a brand strategist. Well, I started as a social media manager, transitioned into brand strategist, and then I realized, oh, I boxed myself in. Okay. And after the very first, or probably 2 years into my business, I then expanded slash rebranded into a business mentor. And then eventually I learned coaching as well. So it's been a journey. Yeah, well, a lot of people will tell you that if you don't niche down, you will not succeed. So I just wanted to show you guys that that is clearly untrue. I'm here and want to be real about my husband's cancer, but then I won't be seen as available and reliable. See, I disagree with that. I think that it's a very real thing that you're dealing with. And I actually think that some of the people that I most respect in this space, including people that I've in the past chosen as mentors, have shown up so vulnerably and shown us how they move through life while dealing with something extremely difficult. I've done that in my own journey. I've dealt with some very difficult things, and I've shown up and found ways to to show my audience and my clients how I navigate life while that is happening. How am I taking care of myself while this is happening? You know, am I burning everything down to the ground and going into hiding under the covers for 6 months, or am I actually dealing with it? So there's actually, how do I put this? There's power in the things that you think take your power away. Niching down is not an option. Love that, Chris. No big ambition there at all. I can't seem to zero in on an actual niche. Great. You don't need to. How do you have clear messaging without a niche? Well, I don't have a niche. I'm a business mentor. The end. I've worked with people from over 100 different niches. I've worked with people who do every single one of the things every single one of you do. And I have helped them build, I've helped at least 50 people who do the exact same things each of you does build a successful business. I've not niched down. Every single one of them was drawn to me because messaging is incredibly important, yes. So is your personality. So is your story. So is how you show up. So you guys don't really know what my messaging is right now, other than the messaging of this event. Those of you who are new to me, some of you already can make a decision of whether you want to be in my world longer based on just the last 28 minutes. And some of you are sitting here thinking, this is just not for me. And that's all it takes sometimes. Is messaging important? Yes, it's a huge part of building a successful brand. Well, I wouldn't say that being a business mentor is a niche. It's a category. Niche and a category are technically two different things. What was I saying? Business, niche, category. It's gone. But the point is that if we go back to my original point, there is such a thing as competition. You don't need to niche down. Messaging is important. It's even more important how you show up and how you show your audience that you move through the world. Messaging doesn't need to be about niching down. It is purely about, can you tap into the inner monologue that people have with themselves every single day? I know there's like a tiny percentage of people who apparently don't talk to themselves. If you are that person, how is that possible? I've read an article that this exists. You are so fascinating to me if that's you. Like, expose yourself, please tell us. But if you can tap into that, and if you can use the exact language they use when they talk to themselves, let me give you an example. I know that every single one of you in this room, at least once in your business, has said to yourself, I should be further than I am. Why am I not there yet? This is one of the most common things my clients deal with. So I will use that in my messaging because it makes you feel understood. It shows you that I listen, and it shows you that I am speaking directly to you. And a huge part of building a successful brand also is in repelling the wrong people. If you focus more on repelling than you do on attracting, you will build a successful business 5 times faster. That I can guarantee. But people either don't know that, don't realize it, or they're too scared. In reality, there's nothing scary about repelling people. You repel people every day just by existing. You know, we all do. Some people look at us and go, that is not for me. And that's great. You look at people. Come on, be honest. You sometimes look at people in online space and you go, no, this is not for me. So isn't that great? Because otherwise you could have given them your money because you would have doubted yourself and your intuition. And you would have gone, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're actually great. Given them your money and been like, oh fuck. There's no refund. There's nothing. Now this was a $1,000 lesson, $5,000 lesson. Everything's a lesson, but some lessons don't need to be be paid, you know? Good. I'm glad you like it. I talk to myself 100 times a day, always gabbing with myself. I have full blown conversations. Sometimes I imagine that I'm a protagonist in a very, very long movie, more of a TV show, really. And it's a really fascinating one. It involves a lot of cats. So the point is, people are not out there thinking about your credentials and auditing your frameworks. They're asking one question subconsciously over and over again. And so are you. When you when those of you who are not working with me yet become exposed to a paid offer from me, subconsciously what's going to go through your mind is she solid enough for me to actually say yes to her? Because being good at what I do is the bare minimum. I mean, it's only been 32 minutes. I highly doubt anyone's doubting that at this point. It's the same with you. If anyone listens to you speak for half an hour, there's no chance they're gonna think, "But is he good? I can't quite tell yet." That's not a thing, and we're not available for this. So we all are a living embodiment of our work. That's the bare minimum. So you're already sold on that. So what you need to be actually sold on is this person going anywhere? Is this person stable? Are you going to be my test bunnies? Am I trying to sell you on some brand new offer that I just created and I just need people to test it for me so I can go increase the price and sell it for a higher price? And I'm new to business and I don't really know what I'm doing, right? We all very much care about this. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of those things if you are open and honest about it. The problem is people are taught to be dishonest from the start in this industry, and that is a problem. So yes, there very much is competition, and when we pretend that there isn't, it doesn't make us abundant. It makes us invisible, and it makes us unarmed. Because every day that you don't intentionally shape how you are perceived in your business, someone else is doing it for you. People will place you in the easiest box available. It could be, "Oh, she's nice. Oh, that person is very helpful. Oh, yeah, she's so relatable. Yeah, she's super smart." The end. That's what we don't want, right? That is the cost of pretending that competition doesn't exist. But then knowing that competition is a thing, what's next? What do we do with that? What actually separates the people who are rare and chosen? That sounds very godlike. Ha, chosen. Chosen and paid and respected from the people who just get likes and comments. Well, for a very long time, all you needed to do was one thing. Up until 2023, all you needed to do to make money online was be visible. The more visible you are, the more money you're going to make. The end. I used to have clients back then who would go viral or who would just accumulate a few new followers every day and they were making a ton of money. Now, I have clients who have gone absolutely viral. One of my clients has 2,000 new followers per day he's bringing into his Facebook. And he's not making money at the moment. So he came to me with this and he was like, "I need help because I haven't told you this, but I went super viral." I didn't even know. And this is what's happened. And so now I'm struggling to sell my XYZ offer. I figured out what the problem was. But the point is, visibility is not what it used to be. If people could see you, they could trust you, especially during the pandemic. And if they saw you often enough, they assumed that you were super competent and good at what you do. I know it makes no sense, but that's how it used to be. If you showed up consistently, you were rewarded with influence, with clients, and with money. That was the market. Some of you may have experienced it. I know I did. And then I had to pivot because I too made a lot of money and helped a lot of people when the market was here and it was so easy. I would just write a post and publish it. And I kid you not, I would make $20,000, $30,000 from one single piece of content. I was teaching people how to do that and it was working. And then, as always, we went through a change and the market shifted. And so now I don't teach that anymore. The problem is a lot of people still do. But let's not go there. So now you don't make money just by posting content. Now you make money by focusing on two things: building the brand and selling. And marketing is not selling. A lot of people got so used to posting content, which is marketing, and thinking of that as selling when it's not. Selling is actually having conversation, like having a sales process. Ideally, having conversations with people, connection, intimacy. That is the key part of sales. And A lot of people did not pivot into that because it's uncomfortable. Because isn't it just so much easier to just write a few posts and make money? At the time, everyone learned the same rules, just post more and the money will come. To be clear, I'm not saying that visibility is not important. Visibility, of course, matters, but it's now just the entry requirement. And you don't need a massive visibility at all. And you don't build authority now purely from being visible. Being visible at all, just like creating content for your brand, purely just gives you permission to exist in the business space right now. Bare minimum, like Iris just said. Because everyone can be visible now. The people who are great at what they do, the people who suck at what they do, the people who are crystal clear, the people who are confused and going through 25 identity crisis and telling you that they're the most stable person out there. Everyone's visible. The most random people are going viral on TikTok and getting millions of views right now. And this has been happening for the last years. So what happened was our human brains adapted to this. And when visibility became the norm, our brains stopped using it as a reason to make buying decisions. You may actually have noticed this in yourself. When everyone is posting content all the time, posting content all the time stops meaning the same thing. So while most people are still trying to play the old game, posting more, chasing a bigger audience, wanting a bigger reach, posting in 25,000 Facebook groups because their coach from 5 years ago told them to do that. Ridiculous strategy, by the way. I'm appalled that people still teach this. Those who are actually doing well right now have moved on. They're playing a completely different game. And the new game is regulation. This is where things get really uncomfortable for people who just rely on being good at content. It was uncomfortable for me because I was the content girl. I started my career as a social media manager and a copywriter. I was so used to just posting content, teaching content, because that's what I did for a few years. And I had so many clients just come to me from that. And so I struggled with it in the beginning, not for long. I adapt and pivot pretty quickly because my livelihood is the most important thing to me, and so is helping people. So if I'm not prioritizing those two things, I don't feel good. And it was uncomfortable because regulation has nothing to do with how you look online. It has everything to do with how people feel around you. Even in this room, think about how you're feeling right now. Think about how your audience is feeling every time they see you. They're no longer asking, oh my God, who shows up the most and who explains things the best to me? Whose content can I save so that I can go back to this post and learn from? We hardly get any saves on our content. Now you can track that in Instagram. People now are asking, who do I feel calmer around? Who activates me? Who like lights a fire under me in a positive way? Who challenges me, but who also doesn't make me second guess myself? Who feels steady when things are uncertain? Is this a mentor that I can go to when things feel uncertain and they can really stabilize me and get me through a wobble? That's one of the biggest things. I think to BBS, my membership, I also think to my mastermind. Just today, one of my clients in my mastermind was having a big wobble. She was dealing with a difficult client and I was helping her through it. I had someone in my membership dealing with a very similar thing just a week ago, a difficult client who just wasn't making a payment, wasn't honoring a payment that she was supposed to honor. And it had been happening for months. So she had to have a really uncomfortable conversation. She was doubting herself and she was thinking, oh my God, what if I offend her? What if this gets me into trouble? What if she posts online about me and lies and says I'm terrible? And honestly, half of my job is just getting people through wobbles because that's what happens when you have a business. You go through wobble. I love the word wobble. You will notice. I think it's a very British word. Half of what happens to us in business is there's a wobble. We are putting out fires a lot of the times, right? And when you don't have support in that, the wobble can last for a very long time. So who feels like they are steady and supportive and already at the level I want to reach? is one of the biggest ways people choose mentors right now. Because right now everyone's overwhelmed. You're probably overwhelmed. Does anyone feel overwhelmed at all? Just like in general with life and business and the world? Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I know that a lot of people have opted out of reading the news and things like that, and that helps some. I don't do that. I to me it's actually I think part of why I'm very good at what I do and very good at understanding how people think is I zoom out and I look at the state of the world. I look at how people, what decisions people are making there, how that's impacting the market. I look at like the geopolitics of the world, and all of that impacts the online space, the online coaching space, the online entrepreneurial space, and by default, our lives, our day to day lives. So I have to look at all of that. So I too get overwhelmed. Thankfully, I have a lot of support in my life between my coaches and mentors and friends and therapists and massage therapists and all of the things. I'm supported, but most people are not. So when someone already feels that way and is flooded with information and is constantly stimulated and sold to and educated and poked and nudged, the brain does the only thing that it can do to protect itself. It stops listening to what you're saying and starts listening to who you are and to what your state of mind is, which you reveal through the language you use, through how you show up, through what your energy is. I've been on some of these sessions just for competitor analysis where people do what I'm doing now in their own way. And I gotta tell you, sometimes I show up and they feel so nervous and they feel, and there's nothing wrong with being nervous, just to be clear. It's just that if you are appearing to be nervous and you're appearing to be wobbling when you're trying to get me to trust you, and ultimately this is a business to buy something from you, it's not going to work in your favor. So you're going to have to win me over. You have to work twice as hard to then win my trust over. Because then my brain goes, well, why is she nervous? I thought you've been doing this for a while. Wait, you said online you've built a 6-figure business, you've done tons of these sessions. Wait, what is happening right now? So it's not a conscious thing. I'm not sitting there judging. It's a very subconscious process. Good. That's the same thing I do, Rafi. I didn't used to do that, the grounding part, and I couldn't figure out why I was so jittery all the time. And it's made all the difference in the world. I move on to it fairly quickly. That's good. Newsfeed Eradicator. Whoa, I've never heard of this. Interesting. It's a Google extension. Mm-hmm. My need to advertise, but it feels like so much. I have had clients who've told me people are already dealing with so much, it feels weird for me to then contribute to the noise and sell and market my business, which is so wild to me because it's almost this feeling of who am I to disturb people's peace with my stuff. When in reality, you're literally who they need right now the most. Every single one of you serves such an important function in people's lives that helps them deal with all of this better. Whether you help them stay more regulated or make more money or whatever it is you do, you serve an important function in people's lives. So I don't want to hear any of that. Okay. But the point is, they're listening to who we are and to our state of mind. So they start tracking things like our tone, our pacing, our emotional stability, how we react under pressure. Think about things like me reacting to this chat. This is an example. I mean, I've not seen anything crazy yet, but I've had some of these sessions where someone will throw the wildest thing at me in the chat. You know, I've had to kick people out. There's crazy shit happening all the time, especially when you have a big audience and when there's more than 20 people in a Zoom room and you don't know all of them. So people notice, people track consciously or subconsciously. How do I handle these things? What did I say about it? How did I react to it? What did I say after? Did it shake me in any way? I feel like by talking about this, I'm inviting someone to say something crazy. And this is not an invitation, by the way. But this is the kind of thing that people track. They track how you would respond if someone attacks you online, if someone challenges your worldview or your opinion on something in a piece of content. And it's so important that people challenge you publicly, because if they don't, your audience will never fully trust you. If you just build an echo chamber around your brand and all of your comments on socials are, oh my God, yes, queen, I agree. Oh, you're brilliant. I agree with every single word you're saying. If that's your entire content, that's actually problematic. And this is what I mean when I say I have a very different perspective on things, because normally you hear the opposite. But the truth is, if I don't see how you react to someone challenging you, I don't know you. Do you get defensive? Do you insult them? I've seen crazy things online from people I used to respect. I've seen them go around bullying people in comment sections, being very, very childish and disrespectful, because you think no one sees that because it's not your own wall. But we see everything. So all of these things are things people pay attention to way more than how good you are at what you do and what your messaging is on your sales page for your thing. All of those things matter. I teach messaging is one of my core things that I help people with. I'm not saying it's not important, but this is more important, or at least equally as important. So right now, people care about all of those things, your stability, how you react under pressure, how predictable are you? People sometimes will tell you that you need to be unpredictable and surprising. You always have to reinvent yourself and surprise people. Yes, and you have to surprise them in a certain context. You have to surprise them, but in a way that then makes them go, ah, that's so Des. Yeah, that was such a fun surprise, but that's such a Des thing to do. That's what you want. You don't want, oh my God, I cannot believe she did that. I feel like I don't know her at all. You have to have a very high level of predictability with your audience. They need to feel like they understand you and they know you. Otherwise, you will never be trusted. So if your content so far has been talking about your programs or talking about your process and what you do and educational posts or random memes about cats, you're going to have to step it up massively. And that doesn't need to take you more time, by the way, at all. I would say most people spend too much time on these things because they're just confused. So if you don't know what to talk about and if you don't know how to frame it, that's where your time goes. When you're actually crystal clear on your brand, which is what I help people with, you don't waste a single second on things that don't matter. I feel like I've got an identity crisis before I've even properly started. Ooh, color me interested. So passionate about getting moms to focus on themselves. See what I mean? Such an important function in people's lives, all of you. I haven't set my own coaching business up yet, so I feel like an imposter and it's been stopping me from taking action for years. What do you mean set up your coaching business? What does that entail? Just go online and talk about what you do. The end. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. People don't care about your setup. They don't care about the name of your business, what your business is. All they care about is, do you see them? Do you understand them? And can you help them? And beyond that, that's the bare minimum. As I said, beyond that, they're just going to look at who you are. What's your personality? Personality is a huge reason people say yes or no to us. I had people who said yes to me because they just thought I was funny and they were like, I don't want to have a mentor that doesn't have a sense of humor and takes themselves too seriously. I'm the same way. I can't work with that. That would kill me. I've had people who said no to me because they just found my personality repulsive. I'm like, you're just too, what did someone say to me? Too bold and too aggressive. So they took my confidence as aggression, and that's fair enough. So personality is a huge, huge thing. The more you show it, the better. Because the more people you repel who are not right for you, and by default, the more people you attract who are right for you. Does that make sense? That's why I said yes, because you are fun and you're cats. Great testimonial. She has actually gotten results from working with me. I promise you. It didn't stop at cats and fun. How can I help moms think about their business dreams if I haven't even got a business yet? See, that's an interesting one, and I get where it's coming from. But do you not think that if everyone in the world with a business had that mindset, no one would ever have a business? How would anyone ever get started if we think, oh, I am not successful yet, so how can I help anyone? You start by being honest. You say, hey, guys, I'm running market research calls because I'm building my beta program for helping moms do X, Y, and Z. And I would love to get on a call with you. And in an exchange, I'll offer you a gifted coaching session. I have a client who made $50,000 this month after following this strategy for the last 6 months. Okay. Gifted sessions and asking people to get on market research calls. And I have many clients who follow that strategy successfully because it's honest. You're not out there being like, hey, I'm popping champagne, living the millionaire life. Work with me. You're being honest. This is the beginning of your journey. Thanks, Akila. These are great conversations. Obsessed. BBS is a game changer. I wouldn't have survived my last year without it. Thank you for saying that. So, yeah, people care about who feels safe to follow, who feels safe to say yes to. And my clients don't realize that at the point of purchase unless at the time they're insanely self aware. I mean, I wasn't when I opted into any of my mentors. So I don't say this from a place of judgment. But if I go back to every single one of them now, I mean, hell, half of this call is my clients. So if I were to go to them now and say, well, do you think this played a part? Do you think seeing me and thinking, oh, she's quiet, she feels safe to, it feels safe to be in her world. It doesn't feel like she's going anywhere. It doesn't feel like she's going to ditch this. It doesn't feel like I'm a test bunny. It doesn't feel like I'm her guinea pig. Do you not think that that helped you make the decision ultimately? Then look at all of your other investments in people specifically. Do you not think that played a part? Whether it worked out well or not, ignore that part, but ask yourself, did that subconsciously play a part? Love that, Lila. So ready to be myself and be real. Yes. And I will tell you, memberships. I mean, I'm blessed to have a thriving membership right now. I do not take it for granted. It is a tough time right now for memberships unless you have a very strong brand. So, unless you are unless your brand is very powerful and you're spending a lot of time prioritizing it, it will be tough to put a membership out there in particular. Anything low ticket is going to be tough. But then on the other side, anything high ticket is going to be even more tough because the reason people buy a single any high ticket offer, whether it's a group program, a mastermind, or one-to-one mentorship, is how you lead yourself and how you move through life. So the less you show that, the less money you're going to make. That's just the caveat of building a personal brand. Oh my God. Thank you, Rebecca. I've noticed you're doing something different with your hair. I love that someone's noticed this. Thank you. I am. um, let's see. Einstein? What? Oh my God. I've missed so much, you guys. This chat is on fire. Wow. Anyway, when I say who feels safe to follow, I want to clarify because sometimes this gets taken the wrong way. I don't mean who is relatable, who is nice, who feels like, oh, I'm going to be your friend. If anything, friend energy, this peer to peer energy turns people off because they need to see you as a mentor, right? Their current self needs to see your current self as their desired self. It makes sense when you think about it. Who they are right now needs to look at you and see their desired self in that, which is where I'm sorry, I forgot if it was Lila or someone before her who said, you know, how can I, when I've not built a successful business? Because it's not about what you've accomplished. It really is about who you have become in the process. And for those of you just starting out, it's about who are you becoming in the process of doing the thing that you want to accomplish. That is what people make buying decisions on. There's been a lot of times I've purchased things from people who I just saw so much potential. I was like, I know you're not where you want to be. This is crystal clear to me. but I trust that you have what it takes to get there. And I trust that I'll buy this thing from you and you will continuously update it and you will continuously evolve. I'm trusting this. My gut is telling me that you're in it for the long run. And sometimes you can just tell with people. And I'm lucky enough that many, many people believed this about me in the first few years of my business. I mean, I accumulated hundreds of clients in only my first couple of years in business because I was very honest about my becoming. And one thing is, I'm not afraid to mess up in public. You will say the wrong thing. You will say the wrong thing if you are bold in your expression and if you stop caring about people's judgment and what people will say and think and oh my god, what if my boyfriend from the third grade sees this post? What, who do I think I am talking about my business on social media? Oh my lord. You have one life that we know of, okay? And even if you have multiple lives, you're probably not going to remember this one. So do you really care about your boyfriend from the third grade and what he's going to think, and your sister and cousin 306.5 times removed? Or do you care about how you're going to feel about yourself? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. How do you get your first sale? By selling, ideally. You know, by putting together an offer and saying, hey, want to buy my offer? I mean, don't say that, but say a version of that to people. I've taken a lot of people through the initial process of setting up a business, making their first sale. And I'm lucky enough to say that some of those people are still my clients. One of them, I remember I literally helped her make her very first sale. I think it was a $199 session that she did, like a strategy session with someone. So she found her first client in BBS. So she joined my membership, found her first client there. Common story. And since then, she's built a six-figure business. So it's not as hard as you think it is if you are just starting out. Um, so yeah, safety doesn't mean nice, relatable. It means when something goes wrong, you don't wobble. And if you do wobble, you show people how you're navigating that and you're honest about it. That kind of presence is rare. And you can't fake it. You can't manufacture regulation with better content and better copy and a better offer. It comes from how you live inside yourself and how you show up as that person predictably everywhere. Your brand has to calm down people's nervous systems. Most people's brands spike people's nervous systems. You feel uncomfortable with them. You feel unsafe. You feel I don't want to work with you. If you look around online, that's why those of us who don't post educational content, we make a lot of money and we help a lot of people because we don't focus on the wrong thing. We don't accomplish those things because we're super visible or we have a massive audience. It's because people feel safe to follow us in the unknown. And that is the game that every single one of you is already in, whether you realize it or not. So if regulation is the new game, what are people actually buying when they buy from you? Most people think they're buying strategies, transformation, proximity, whatever, but they're buying relief. When they want to pay you, they want to pay you to give them some sort of relief from confusion, from second guessing, from feeling ashamed of something, from feeling guilty about something, from decision fatigue. And that relief comes from one very specific thing. It comes from people entering an environment that holds them differently. Those of you who are in BBS, some of this might now feel familiar. We had an entire massive session in BBS recently about brand environments. I'm not going to get into all of it now, but I will say your brand is not just your message. It is the environment that people step into when they engage with you and when they work with you. And environments, they shape human behavior. Okay. How do you behave when you are in a library versus when you are in a nightclub? Very differently. I really hope very differently. How do you behave? Unless you're Cardi B, she behaves pretty much the same everywhere. She's hilarious. But if you're in a courtroom versus a dinner party, different behavior. If you're in the gym versus your couch, in front of the TV, different behavior, very different behavior. Same person, different environment, different standard of behavior. Your brand works the same way. When someone enters your world, your environment that you've created there answers questions before you even open your mouth. How seriously should I take this? How much of myself can I bring into this environment? Do I need to perform here? Why do you think in the beginning of this session, I didn't speak to you for a long time? I spoke to you for 6-7 minutes before I started the session, but I said some very important things that may come across as, that's not important, but that's the point because it's natural. It's the standard here is you don't perform in my world. You're not here to get clients. You're here for yourself, but not in that way. You're here to expose yourself vulnerably because that's the only way to actually get something out of being here or in any of my spaces, free or paid. I answered every single one of these questions if you think about it. The first question, how seriously should I take this? What was one of the first things I said to you when you stepped in here? I would love it if you place your full focus on this and don't do 5 things at the same time. I can't decide that for you. Of course, sometimes life is lifing. But I answered that question very quickly. Then, how much of myself can I bring here? All of you. I told you, be real. Do I need to perform? Same thing. Do I need to prove myself? I literally said to you, there's nothing to prove here. So these are the questions that people are asking when they step into your world. You have to answer them through content. You have to answer them in the beginning of every single live experience you run because that's what people truly care about. The problem is you may not have been intentional with the environment in your brand. So you've created it accidentally from posting random content, from having inconsistent boundaries, from being too available, from having low standards, from reacting instead of leading. We've all been there. Every single one of us has gone through that. But the moment people step into your world, whether they're just taking a look at your social media for 10 seconds or they came to this call, they have to know where your standard is. Is your standard all the way down in the basement or is your standard up there in the penthouse? And that perception is formed by multiple things. Whether it's how you hold yourself during the session. I'm not leading the session like from my couch in my PJs. And I know that a lot of people online have gone on the whole hashtag, I should be myself, authenticity, PJ, no makeup, whatever. Cool. That's great. But also take your business seriously. Take your brand seriously. I would never. When you're in my world as a paying client, things are a little bit different because I show more of myself there. I don't put makeup on for sessions. I don't do them from my couch. I'll still do them from my office, mostly. You see a slightly different version of me, a slightly more open, just cracked open, more vulnerable version of me. So it happens always when you get to know someone better. But you instantly know my standard the moment you step into a free or a paid space. Is that true for you right now? If I go to take a look at your social media, am I going to see a blurry ass cover photo that's not been changed in 65 years? Unreadable. If that's the case, no shame. Change it. Again, we've all been there. Is it a cover photo talking about an old event? I was mortified the other month because I went to my business page and I realized my assistant had forgotten to change my cover photo for like 3 months. And I was like, great. Now I'm a hypocrite. So it happens. Is it your profile photo is a photo of your dog? Please. I want to see you. I'm not paying your dog. Okay. Worse. Is your profile photo one of those goddamn AI avatars? I swear to God. No. We want to see you with all of the wrinkles and the gray hair and the 5 fingers, preferably. Okay. The amount of times I've gone to check someone out because I was like, this person's interesting. Oh, so AI photo shoot. I'm done here. Genuinely. Because if you can't even show yourself to me, how can I trust you? AI photo shoots are ridiculous to me. And I have clients who do them and they know where I stand and they don't stand there. They love them and that's fine. But you're making it way more difficult for people to trust you. And you're doing it willingly. It's already difficult for people to trust us. Why make it more difficult? The point is, accidental environments do not attract the right clients. You know who you're going to attract? Maybe you're attracting them already. The, oh my God, you're so great people. The, oh my God, I love this. I love this thing you said. Oh my God, you look so good here. I agree with everything you say. You're on my wish list. You're on my wish list for 2026. I just can't afford you right now. Some of this is normal, but if a lot of what you're getting is this, you've created an accidental environment. So, how do you create an intentional one, right? How do you create a strong one? Because your environment shapes you before you ever shape anyone else. And what I mean by that is your day to day reality shapes you, what you're surrounded by, what you hear reflected back to you, what you normalize. Think about the things that you've normalized. I'm going to tell you my biggest pet peeve in business. So many people have normalized not making money to the point where another month passes. If you recognize yourself in this good, it's meant to be confronting, okay? No judgment, just slightly confronting. People have normalized month after month after month passing, and they are not making money in their business. That's not okay. You are so good at what you do. You are the one that needs to be making so much money because the more money you make, the more influence you have, the more impact you have, the more people you help. Period. For me, it was always about animals. I love people, don't get me wrong, but I love animals more. So I knew that the more money I make, the more animals I can help. It's as simple as that. It's been one of my biggest drivers from day one. I do a lot of work with um, animal welfare and rescue organizations. Both of my cats are rescues. I donate, I volunteer, I facilitate adoptions, and none of this is possible unless I make enough money to have a one to be able to donate, but two to have peace of mind. Because, how can you volunteer, say, 20 hours of your time this month when you're not making money? I'm not vegan, I'm pescatarian. Um, I love animals and they're my white too. Love that. I was vegan for about 6 months. Most difficult time of my life. I bow down. I bow down to all of you who make this work. Genuinely, it was so difficult. But the point is that you've normalized things that should not be normalized. And that's because your environment has made it possible for you to normalize it. That was a really tough lesson for me. I learned this lesson when I lived in Thailand. So I've lived all over the world. I was nomadic for a while. So I lived in Malta, Scotland, Thailand, Denmark, Spain twice. Lived in Malaga and Barcelona. And then I ended up in London 5+ years ago. Fell in love with the city. You can see it behind me. And I'm not going anywhere. But when I was in Thailand, no one was making money. I was surrounded by people who did not understand my ambition and my commitment to my business and who did not take their business seriously. I was surrounded by people who did not take their livelihood seriously. And I couldn't understand it. And at some point, you know what I realized? So I spent 10 months there. I was in Chiang Mai. It's a very nomadic place because it's so cheap. It's one of the cheapest places there. And you can have an amazing quality of life on $1,000 a month. That's not something I aspire to ever. But the longer I spent in that environment, I started noticing subtle shifts in myself. Oh, I was going to run a masterclass this month where I was going to sell my whatever program. I'm just not feeling it anymore. And I'm good anyway. I live here. I don't need more money this month. It's fine. And then it was, I wanted to run my signature program once more this year, but I'm okay. I don't need to do that. No one else is doing that. And it was such a subconscious, subtle thing that my standards were slipping and slipping and slipping. And I remember it was 9 months in that I realized this. It took me a long time. And I just thought, uh-oh, I'm done with Thailand. You could make the point that nothing external should ever affect you, to which I will respond with, okay, but even though you are an alien, I'm human. Even though some people say I'm an alien, I'm human. It will affect me to a point. No matter how regulated I am, how held and supported, your environment will always affect you, period. And right now, most entrepreneurs are surrounded by nothing that helps them, nothing that keeps their standards high, nothing that's useful. I mean, let's look at how people operate. Stage one is when you start your business and you're doing it all alone, right? We've all been there. You will consume the content. You'll follow some people, start copying what they do because you don't have a mentor. You will think things through, you analyze things internally. And then if you continue not having support, you will start taking longer to make decisions. You will doubt yourself more. You will start lowering your standards like I did in Thailand without realizing, doing discounts, extending payment plans, underpricing. I mean, why on earth are you going to sell one-to-one access to yourself for anything other than 4 figures a month? For every single one of you who's been in business for a while or who has put time and money into accumulating this expertise, that's outrageous. It is outrageous to charge less than $1,000 a month for one-to-one private access to you. And I'm talking just access to your brain. I've seen people who charge $100 a month and they have weekly sessions with a one-to-one client for that money. We can't, no, because where is this business going? You'll never make money. You'll never make enough money to even sustain your livelihood. Oh, you won't be doing that any longer. I guarantee you that. Yeah, I guarantee you that. Now that you're in BBS, we won't be having that. Because if you're doing that, all that means is, and again, take emotions out of this. This has nothing to do with you. Don't make this mean anything about you. You are not your business. You are not your brand. This is a separate entity. What it means is you've not looked at your long-term plan. You don't have a long-term plan. You haven't looked at how much money do I want this business to generate? How many people do I want to help? How do I want to help them? What levels? Do I want high ticket offers, low ticket? How do I want to serve? You've not looked at that. Because when you look at that and when you realize, well, I want to make at least 6 figures a year. For every single one of you, 6 figures a year is your bare minimum. Because that just about, unless you live in Thailand, pays for your life, allows you some amazing luxuries, and allows you to have some freedom. Unless you live in London, in which case that's your bare minimum, for real. That secures you a few dinners out per month, and that's it. This is one of my biggest, without me having to really, because I hate going out there and talking about how much money you make. I find it so tacky, so I don't really do that in my content. Purely the fact that I live here tends to be enough because it's such a ridiculously expensive place. I had a client who lived in Singapore. Same thing, if not worse. Some things I guess are a flex more than announcing how much money you make. But the point is that, sorry, I was just reading her, who is this? Michelle's comment. I'll answer that in a second. The point is that if you look at how much money you want the business to generate and then you look at your current price points, we have a problem. And if you don't know how much money you want your business to generate, I invite you to take your business seriously and treat it as a business and not as something that you have on the side that may or may not make you money. You either go all in and step into the role of a founder of a business, or you stop altogether, because this half in, half out thing, it's not going to work. It's not. I love IVs. How do we go from 50 euros a session face to face per client to 4 figures online? I can't run 4 figures online and then face to face clients pay much less. I agree. It wouldn't be right. But a face to face client can pay 4 figures. You have a choice to make. You have a choice to make. I can make it the most confronting choice, which is you go all in on your online brand, which sooner or later you're going to do anyway. And that's the scarier choice, is the bolder choice. Or you keep your face-to-face clients for now for that stability that everyone craves. And then you create a group program online. You create assets online that are not the same thing that you are doing face-to-face. You charge appropriate prices there. You replace your income ASAP from your face-to-face clients, and then you go all in online, and then you charge 4 figures for one-to-one. So there's many options, many paths that you can take. This is the work I do with clients. But you are not stuck in your current reality. Just remember that. You can make different choices and everything is figure outable. But a lot of second guessing and doubting and confusion happen when you're alone on the journey. Your current level becomes your reference point. And whatever your reference point is, you protect it. The next stage, the evolution of this, is you get a mentor, right? I have a mentor, I'm good now. All my problems are solved. And mentorship and coaching feel like the answer, right? But there's one problem with having just a mentor. You will get the guidance, but you don't get the reinforcement. You hear something, you understand it, you'll be grateful, you agree with it, but then you go back to your normal life. Same habits, same conversations, nothing sticks. And not because your mentor isn't good, but because one voice that you're paying for will never be able to compete with your entire environment. That's why so many people feel inspired on a call, in a conversation with their mentor, and then slide back into old patterns. Then next call, so inspired, I'm going to make this change, slide back into old patterns. So right now, the cost of doing business this way is higher than it used to be, living in misalignment. So you can't afford slow decision making, constant second guessing, and having low standards. So doing this on your own right now or with just one point of support is not a strength. It's actually a weakness. Because when things get uncertain, and they will, you don't rise to your potential, you fall back to what's familiar. That is a support problem. The people who are doing well right now are not better than you. The people charging the 4 figures, they're not better than you. Usually they're more supported. They're not doing it in isolation. They're surrounded by decisive people who move faster, who hold higher standards, who normalize growth inside of comfort. I mean, imagine being in a space run by someone who has incredibly high standard. What did I just say to Ramona, right? She was like, oh no, I do this and I've just joined BBS. Yeah, you won't do this anymore. That's the whole point of being in BBS. We talk. I help you raise your standards. I can't do it for you, of course. I mean, if you can really resist it and you can go, no, now Des, I'm gonna stay small. That's fine. And then eventually you leave my space, and because you can't, I'm not gonna kick anyone out for choosing that for themselves, but they will eventually leave because they will feel like they're not living up to their potential constantly by playing it small, and then they'll leave, and then they'll fall back into the comfort of their life, and then that's it. That's what happens. So the advantage in being in the right environment is to not be left alone with your own blind spots. And if your environment is shaping you every day, then your brand, the thing that your audience steps into, is doing the exact same thing to them, right? Because you don't get paid based on how good you are. Sadly, for all of us, you get paid based on the environment that people experience when they find you. So the real problem is usually misdiagnosed. People think they're not making more money because their messaging isn't good enough, their brand positioning isn't, which, to be fair, is a common problem, because their offer needs to be tweaked, the sales page needs to be tweaked 20,000 times. But what's actually happening is that your brand environment is teaching people not to take you seriously. And that is a really tough pill to swallow for everyone. And you're not teaching them to not take you seriously through what you say necessarily. Yeah, there definitely are leaks in language, I will say. Definitely over explaining, over talking, like certain words. Yes, that's probably there. But it's mostly through what you are allowing to happen in any of your spaces and in your expression, etc. If we do a very quick audit of your brand environment right now, here's some questions. Answer honestly, yes or no, okay? Let's say someone hesitates when they've heard about your offer. You're selling something that you really want to sell right now, and they're interested, but they're hesitating and they're like, yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if this is for me. What do you do? Do you immediately explain more about the offer? Do you start justifying the price? Do you send longer messages or voice notes? Do you worry about them not joining and start being like, oh no, now no one wants to join this? Oh, great. I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. Yes or no to any of these? I am here when you are ready. So, Veronica, the thing about saying to someone, I'm here when you're ready. I used to say that. I don't say that anymore because it creates it gives people the false impression that they will ever be ready. You don't get ready to do this, right? You do the thing and that's what makes you ready. I had someone say that to me about joining BBS once and she was like, I'm not ready yet. And I was like, you're not ready to be less confused. You're not ready to make more money. You're not ready to take your business seriously. You're not ready to just get to be supported. And when I put it like that, she went, huh? I mean, no, what I was saying I'm not ready about is taking on one more thing. But that's not what that is. The more support you have, the better. You're not actually taking on anything. You are stripping off things that are what's keeping you overwhelmed. And that's what people don't get when we are selling to them, depending on the offer, of course. I tell them to think about it. Don't tell them to think about it. They know. They know that. They will think about it anyway. See, this is what I mean. Branding and sales, the two most important things to master. Sales conversations are actually very easy. There's just some language that you can learn and get familiar with, and from there it really is about listening and connection and intimacy. Babies are born whether mamas are ready or not. I love that. Brilliant metaphor. Brilliant. There's never a good time. I will, if someone says that to me, I'll say, fair enough, but just so you know, you'll never be ready. So, um, if you want to talk about that, let me know. And then a lot of people will say, oh, well, what do you mean? And then I'll tell them what I just said to you. I'm a thinker buyer. I mean, my human design is projector, so I don't make decisions based on I don't make them like this. I do have to think about it. So selling to me and asking for an instant response is simply not going to work. I need to do my research on you. I need to attend a session with you. If I attend a session like this one, I can make a decision. You know, if I have just seen a piece of content and you're now selling me something, I'm going to need to have a proper conversation with you, get to know you, examine some more of your content, etc. The best way to experience someone is something like this, where you get to see us and I can see some of your faces, you can see me. It's perfect. Are you choosing from your head or gut? Yeah, for me it's head. That's how I make decisions. For a lot of people it's gut. For a lot of people it's like this. It's an inner knowing, instant inner knowing. Even then, I suggest, actually talking to the person. Um, Here's some more questions. If someone doesn't make the quick decision, what do you do? Let's say that you're pitching me and I'm like, I don't make decisions this way. Uh, Let me think about it. What do you then do? Do you just leave it there because it feels so uncomfortable to follow up and you're intimidated and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm going to just let her be. This is not going to happen. Do you start reassuring me? Do you offer me a discount? That would offend me deeply, by the way. if you if you offer me a discount and you think that's the reason I'm not joining, I'll probably be like, this is not for me. But a lot of people rush to offer discounts, throw in extra bonuses. There's a time and place for an extra bonus that if we already have a relationship and I know what it is you want, I can do that. If it's someone new to you, don't be throwing random things at them hoping something sticks. One of my clients in my mastermind was just pitched the most random thing. She asked to sponsor an event. That was it. And this woman sends her a massive novel of a message and says, I'm so happy that you're interested. So by paying me these, whatever, £10,000, you will get 1 year in my mastermind, 1 year of one-to-one access to me. I'm already freaked out and overwhelmed at this point. 3 sessions in person, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and sponsorship of the event. It's like so out of integrity, first of all. So out of integrity, so overwhelming and basically false advertising. And also, that's how you fill your mastermind by randomly pitching it to people. And all of that for 10K, I don't love that. I'm out. Yeah, I know. Exactly. What's the cost of delay? Yeah, I talk about that a lot in my content. So, yeah, what do you do? What about if you feel uncertain and unclear in your business? Maybe you feel like that right now. What do you do? Do you go and just get more active and post more content without any real strategy behind it? Do you look for external validation? Do you crave the likes and the comments? And if you're not getting the likes and the comments, then that's when you think something's wrong. You're focused on all the wrong things. Do you outsource your power to other people's strategies because they seem like they work for these people? Therefore, let me just emulate. And then, I saw Des write a post like this. Maybe I should. I saw Des sell this thing. Maybe I should. What do you do when things feel uncertain? That's me, spaghetti on the wall. I'm trying to close a client who's saying he needs more time to be ready to start private coaching, but he likes everything, including the price of my proposal. Amazing. So get a deposit. Get a deposit, set a timeline. We start in March. I'm happy to start in March. I will reserve your spot, £500 deposit. And he's in. And that then gives you some time to maybe work with another client until then. Usually I would ask them a pre-qualifying question. Is there anything likely to stop you from going ahead with me before you continue? Interesting question. Very interesting question. It could go either way with that one. I think it's good. I think it's a confronting one. If the person is used to that, like if you ask me that, I'd love that. But there are a lot of people, maybe they're not your people, who would get quite a bit shaken by that, maybe because it's too direct. And not everyone is direct, and not everyone likes direct. Another reason why some people choose to not work with me, for instance, they don't like direct. They like it sugar coated. It feels better. And feelings are more important than having a successful business. He wants more time. I tried to get a deposit and he wasn't ready. Then he loses the spot. Then you get another client and you tell him we can revisit this later in the year when you maybe are ready, but I can't guarantee that there's going to be a spot for you. You don't hold things up for yourself because someone who probably will never say fully yes is not ready. See, standards. Where is your standard? You delay everything in your business for him? Do you keep talking to him even though he's clearly wasting your time right now? Because if someone was serious about taking up this one-to-one spot from you, they would pay a deposit. If it starts in fucking October, they would pay a deposit. I've had people pay me a deposit 6 months in advance for a program or for something because they were so serious about it. My signature program starts again March, and the first person just joined. I've not started promoting it, nothing. She messaged me and said, "Can I join your program?" And she paid a deposit because she was serious about it. She was like, "I want to pay the rest in full. I don't have it right now. If not, I'm good for a payment plan, but I'll pay it in full. I just need to reserve the spot right now." That's a serious person. What would you do in that position? Would you just say, "No, please wait for me. I'm not ready yet," or would you put your money where your mouth is if you really were serious? So, yeah. If you said yes to any of those things, by the way, that I was asking, two things are happening. One, you are conditioning your own behavior. So your nervous system has learned to get into savior mode when people hesitate, which means that next time you will either not sell at all or you will soften how you sell. You will directly offer a discount. You will directly assume people can't afford the offer. So many of my clients used to do this, keyword used to. They would be like, "Oh, Dessa, I would love this person, but she can't afford it." Excuse me. You are making assumptions about what someone can afford. That is so disrespectful. You don't know what money people have access to. It doesn't have to be in their account. We are resourceful. We are entrepreneurs. If I want something, that's not true for people who don't have their basic needs met. But we're not selling to them. Why would I be doing that? That's bad for you, bad for me. But if you're having a sales conversation with someone who clearly can do it, that's a whole different thing. And then that leaks into your public presence. Your tone shifts, your language becomes different. You're not as confident, you're not as bold, you're shaky. Your energy shifts. Think of it as your energy going from this to this. People can feel that. Your whole brand shifts. So that's the first thing that happens if you answered yes to any of these. The second thing that's happening is you're filtering your audience without realizing it, but not in a good way. Because the people who hesitate the most are the ones who stay the longest in your field. The people who you hear from the most are the ones who usually haven't made a decision yet. They're forever on the fence, the perpetual fence sitters. Yeah, I'll join BBS next time. I'll join BBS next year, next year. I have a person who's been saying that to me since 2019. Every year as the price goes up and up, it was $30 a month back then. It's $199 a month now, which if you ask me is very low. He's still saying that he'll join next time. Like he actually says it to me and he believes it. I don't. I actually don't think I'll let him in. This to me is not a good sign. I get pissed off when someone presumes I can afford something. So my logic and how I move through business is I assume that every single one of you can afford my highest ticket offer. And then I just operate from there. I don't want to strip your power away. Like, why would I do that? If you can't afford that, that's not a big deal. You just, you can't for now. That's fine. Then you join something else or nothing at all. There's no emotions involved. It doesn't mean anything about you. You're not a failure. You're not bad at business. You're not meant to be an entrepreneur. But when I look at you, I'm not making a list in my head thinking, well, she can't afford it. And everyone can. I start at that point, and then from there, I let you decide and I let you like tell me or tell yourself what the truth is. Anything other than that feels very out of integrity and feels like a judgment. I don't know you. I don't know your bank account. I don't want to. It's crazy. So don't do that to your own audience. Decisive people move fast. They don't need tons of reassurance. They either become clients or they will say no. They will not let time decide. That's a very important one. So I hate it when people do that. Just say yes or no. So when you start indulging and paying attention to the indecisive people and lowering your standards for them, they're the ones that you keep attracting. People who ask a million questions, need more certainty, delay their decisions, want to feel ready and safe before moving. So right now you're likely calibrating your brand to that segment of your audience. This is just as bad as being them, just as bad as you constantly hesitating before making a buying decision instead of listening to your intuition and knowing when something is what you need and when something is not. So take a moment to think about who are you speaking to right now with your content? Do a mini audit right now. Are you speaking to those who are decisive or to those who need 10,000 hours of free conversations with you for reassurance to join your $200 offer? So here's a challenge for you. I challenge you for the next month. Remove one thing from your environment. Remove the 10,000 hours of free reassurance. That's it. No justifying your prices, no explaining why, no over delivering for free or in paid spaces. No lowering your standard in any way for a single person. Not being okay with people delaying payments. I'll give you an example. One of my high level clients, she has someone who was supposed to pay her for sponsorship of something she's doing. And that person has committed but has not paid and has now said to her, I just have a lot going on this month, so I need to split the payment, even though I said I would pay in full. And she came to me and she said, this makes me feel X, Y, and Z, which is already a problem. So the first thing I said was, what are you doing? It has nothing to do with you, how you feel. It's not a story about you. All it means is you have lowered your standards. So that person now feels I have to pay off all of this other stuff before I prioritize this. Shift it. Hold the standard. Have a conversation and say, listen, actually, it doesn't feel in integrity for me to allow you to further split this payment after we had a conversation and you committed. And it doesn't feel good to hear the you have all of these other things. You committed to this first. So let's honor that. And period. You know, have the conversation. And if they are not okay with that, they don't have to be on board. That's having a high standard. Being willing to hold the void and hold the discomfort without a reward guaranteed on the other side. That's also what discipline is, by the way. So, for a month, for the next 30 days, can you commit to not lowering your standard for a single person? If you can't commit to that, we have a problem. I want to see a yes or a no in the chat. Can you commit to that? Hell, I'm committed. I'm committing for the next 5 years. Yes. We got 59 people here. Do I count in that number? I think I do. We have 58 people here. I want to see 58 yeses. Did someone say no? I don't think so. Right? Thank God. Those are not 58 yeses. I'm going to just sit here and chill. Holding the void. Anyone else want to commit? Rose. Love it. What if it's 100K coaching consulting 1 year commitment and they don't want to fully commit to joining until they have cleared enough time to be fully immersed? I feel like I understand where they're coming from, but it still could be an excuse. How do I overcome this objection? My full honesty to you, you are making the price mean something. What does it matter if it's a 100K commitment or a 10K commitment? If you take that away, what changes? Nothing. So you are treating this person differently because they are saying they'll eventually pay more. Does that feel like you're holding the standard high? And does that feel in integrity to you? Integrity with yourself, I mean. So if this was me and I've been in that situation, I would either take a deposit or I would say, okay, come back and talk to me and hopefully we can still work together. There's nothing else that you can do. There's no objection to overcome if they're even refusing to pay a deposit, then they're not actually thinking about it seriously right now. It's just like, you know what people do? I'm making an educated guess here. I could be very off. So call me out if you think I am. But a lot of times people will discuss a high ticket offer in particular with you, especially something as amazing as because it feels incredible to commit to 100K. I mean, I have paid in full $100,000 plus for a 1 year of one-to-one mentorship. It feels insane. It's such a rush for to see $100,000 leave your account. Never in my life did I think I would be capable of that. It changes you. But there are people who will merely discuss doing that with you because it gives them just the conversation and just the thought that it could happen for them gives them a dopamine hit, and it gives them status in their head. It gives them that internal status, which then gives them confidence. And so they've told themselves the lie that I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. But if they were serious about doing it, then they would have committed in some shape or form. Good. Oh my god, I want to know how this goes. Put it in the Telegram channel when you talk to them. High ticket sales are a whole different animal. I love high ticket sales. One of my favorite things ever. Um, but it works very differently. So no lowering your standard for a single person. Guys, you've committed for 7 days. We have the Telegram space. I was gonna keep it open for 48 hours, but you know what? We're gonna keep it open. Why did I say 7 days? For a month. We're gonna keep it open for a month just so I can see who honors this. I'm not saying I'll be there every day for a month, but I want updates. And when you break this and lower your standard, I want you to show up and tell us that you broke it. And I want you to show us what you're gonna do now. Do you recommit? Do you continue breaking it? Because it feels I already fucked up. Might as well just continue living that way. I want to see how you handle that. I just had someone contact me for joining BBS asking for a discount because she wouldn't be able to come to some of the calls that I run in the membership. We have weekly calls. And I said, no, the membership is not just calls, So I can't do that for you. And what I said to her is the reason I can't do this, and I know I don't need to explain, but I thought this was important for her to hear. I said that it wouldn't be an integrity for me or for her knowing that she is the only one stepping into BBS with a discount. So the next day, she paid in full for an entire year and she joined. Well, she applied. Now she's officially in. So that was the shortest conversation ever. It was literally just that. There was nothing else. She just asked me the question and I responded with a 20-second voice note. So all that she needed from me on the other side of this is to hold the standard high, hold the bar high for her. That's all that she needed. And that is most of the time what the people on the other side of your sales conversations need. Remember that. They don't need your discounts and your 20,000 bonuses and your firstborn in the kitchen sink. That's what you think they need because you're coming at it from a place of insecurity. And I get that. It does cheapen it. Yeah. So for the next month, replace every instance of lowering your standards with just stillness, silence, space, holding the void when someone asks you to justify something, to over deliver, to over explain, whatever it is. You will feel it, especially after the session. You will be more sensitive to people asking you to lower your standard. And a lot of the times they won't do it intentionally. They're not bad people. We've also all been on that side. We've asked other people to lower their standard for us, I'm sure. And we didn't realize. So do this and see what happens. Yeah? Now, you can try and enforce this alone. Most people do. They manage it for a week, then they slip. Then the environment collapses again. Or you can put yourself inside a room where your standards are mirrored back to you, where mistakes, because we all make mistakes, get corrected in real time, where your boldness and your courage grow in real time and you can feel it. So you have a choice of putting yourself in the right environment so you can then create the right environment for your audience and for your clients. Because if nothing changes around you, nothing changes for you or for your business. But if you change the environment you operate inside, your brand will follow. The standards will follow. The money will follow. Because your brand can only rise to the level of stability that you live in. That is exactly why I created BBS 9 years ago. BBS is not a course. It's not a library of content. We have it. I don't think many people log into it. It's not random motivation posts published every day. It's real-time guidance, support, feedback, and accountability. What you're getting on this session times 1,000, because let's face it, there's a lot of you here, and I can't talk to every single one of you, but I can in there. It's a community full of not just your ideal clients, but people who have your back. You've seen some of them here and how they engage. It's a place where you get mentorship directly from me every single day. You don't get ditched once you're inside. I don't just bring you in and then never show up. I know that's unfortunately very normal in the online space. This does not happen in my world. I lead also weekly calls where you can talk directly to me outside of the Facebook group and Telegram. And I've led weekly calls in that space, and I have shown every day in that space for the last 9 years of my life, since February of 2017. That's how certain you can be that this space is here to stay. So inside BBS, you're not left alone to figure it out. You get support with every aspect of your business: messaging, sales, funnels, offers, mindset, dealing with difficult clients. Anything you bring to me is okay to bring. It is a business community where you will not be lost in a sea of 10,000 other clients whose names I don't know and who I don't care about. I know all of the 160 people inside. I know who they are, what they stand for, what their business is, and I will know yours too if you're in there. So BBS is closed to the public right now. It stands for Badass Brand Squad. I came up with the name 9 years ago. Don't judge me. It's closed to the public right now. Actually, this is the longest we've ever been closed. I've had an interesting year in 2025. So I didn't really do many launches in my business. But I've been blessed with my business doing really well. Interestingly, more on that another day. But I will be opening it up at some point soon. As of right now, it's closed. No one has this invitation other than you. I'm opening 5 spots today. This is the backdoor link. Please don't share it with anyone else. This invitation is not extended to anyone else. Unless you have someone that you think might be great, then message me and we can have a chat about it. And obviously, if you bring someone to me, you are always paid a affiliate fee, as you should be. I think you get paid $200 if they join for a year, and then you get paid monthly if they join per month. My assistant knows this. So I'm opening 5 spots to BBS. This is valid for the next 48 hours. I did this once before recently, and they got taken within less than a day. I think a few hours they got taken. So I'm opening up 5 spots. Most people join annually, not just because it saves you money, but because being a monthly member in any space sometimes keeps people in indecision. That said, I don't care how you join. Monthly, annually, 6 monthly, that is completely up to you. This time I have no requirements. So the spot can be whoever's, however you choose to pay. Some people use BBS to get clear on their brand. Some people use it for the community. Some people use it to stabilize their income. Some people use it to stop guessing every move they make, because having a mentor is priceless. So yes, some people use it to tap into my brain. That in itself, I really do think is invaluable. So 5 spots and 48 hours. So what is it? It's 9 p.m. So right after 24 hours after day 2, essentially, this offer will expire. They will likely be taken by the time I see you tomorrow for day 2. I would love to see you apply. BBS has an application process and a 6-month minimum commitment, because I'm serious about working with you. I'm serious about, I take your business seriously, and I don't want people who come in and out. We don't have that in BBS. It's a very loyal community. You feel instantly accepted the moment you step in. You will be introduced by me to the space as well. So I love that Rose actually typed the name. So I can't wait to see who applies. This is, again, the backdoor link. I will also post it with the replay. If you have any questions whatsoever about BBS, I will be in the Telegram space. But I know sometimes you can have a sensitive question. So feel free to message me directly on Telegram or on Facebook. I will be on Facebook. Like Ira says, join. I will be going through the applications tomorrow evening, most likely, right before episode 2 of Rare. So I would love to be able to celebrate you on the next call and say that you're our newest member. And for those of you who join now, I just ran a 5-day experience in there called The Threshold, where we essentially, well, we prepared for 2026. It's about 5 minutes a day it takes, and it makes you feel very, very strong and confident in how you are going to spend the next 12 months with focus. Thank you. I really loved creating it for you, and I did it myself too. So, yes, that is your invitation for today. I can't wait to see who takes me up on it. And remember, be the client that you want. So if this is something that's calling, if this is something that you feel pulled towards, if you want mentorship, if you want community, if you don't want to do things in isolation, I think you've seen that that can be your biggest strength after this session. So I'd love to have you. That is a wrap on day 1 of, I almost said the threshold, of Rare. And I will see you tomorrow for day 2, where we're going to go deeper and explore some very interesting topics, and some more audits are coming up. Oh my God. I'm so happy I saw that before I wrapped up this session. Melissa, hell yes. Yes, girl. I have a feeling I'll have people to celebrate tomorrow. High five to you with both hands. Can't wait to see your application. Don't forget to actually apply. You fill it out after you pay. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mwah. Bye.